about 4 months ago, I was coming out of a shop and I tripped on their steps. I had a triple ankle fracture, and I ended up waiting on the steps for about an hour. I couldn't get an ambulance to come for me, couldn't get anything, kept asking the shop assistant to help me to get a cab to A&E. He wouldn't bother helping me. In the end, he called a cab for me and presented me with a card machine, that you pay in the shop with to pay for the cab. And I ended up with 6 screws and a plate in my ankle, and I'm still recovering.
Break.
Yeah, triple ankle fracture.
What makes you think? What makes you think the shop is responsible for you tripping over the steps?
Well, I'm wondering if there is any angle of it, because they didn't come to help me at all. They just left me sitting in the doorway of the shop. They didn't try to do anything to help me at all.
All right, so let's split your question into two, if we could. First of all, is the shop responsible for your original fracture? And then is the shop responsible in some way because they didn't help you sufficiently? Dealing with whether they're responsible for the fracture in the first place. Well, normally, if there's nothing wrong with the steps, there's no reason to think the shop would be responsible. Was there anything about the steps that made them inherently dangerous, Rafi? Or was it just bad luck?
It was, part of the steps sort of merge into the pavement, so they kind of jut out. They're not normal steps in a way.
I'm not quite visualising this because obviously all steps descend into a pavement.
Yes, sideways. So they're only kind of half steps, and I can't really quite explain it. But half of it is merged into the pavement, and it's at a slant. So half of it is jutting out.
Okay. Is this a shop you've been to a number of times before?
No, it's not. And
do you think the steps are inherently dangerous?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Are they inherently dangerous because you tripped on them, or are they inherently dangerous? Would they have been inherently dangerous anyway?
Anyway, they're just at a funny angle. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. Are there any warning signs or yellow tape on the steps to highlight them?
No, there isn't.
Right. Well, I can't advise you on whether these steps are dangerous. I'd need to see them. What I would do, Rafi, is take photos of the steps, put a ruler or coins or something to indicate the height by the bit you tripped over, and take it to a firm of no win, no fee solicitors somewhere. Okay. You're based in Hatfield, somewhere in Hatfield, who'll be able to tell with one glance at the photos whether they're sufficiently dangerous to give you a reasonable case. But I will just add the word of warning that people trip, and it's not the fault of the owner of the shop or whatever building it is. But if it was dangerous, you may have a claim if there weren't warning signs. That's point number one. Whether you can sue them for not coming sufficiently to your aid, not being sufficiently magnanimous and helping, I'm afraid you can't get any compensation for that. There's no duty in the law to help. There's no duty to be a hero in this sort of situation. Of course, they could have done more. Morally, they probably should have done more, but legally, you can't sue them for not doing more.